JD Cargill.
And I'm Michelle Arrigo, and this is Friends Some and Then Some.
We are three best friends that met over 20 years ago in the local news scene here in Los Angeles, and we thought, what better way to keep our friendship strong and show the healing power of friendship than have a podcast together.
That's right. We each have unique perspectives and viewpoints, but we embrace each other with a lot of humility, a lot of love, honor, and support, because, we're all on this journey. We hope you walk away from your journey with maybe some life hacks or some tips on how to get through this crazy thing we call midlife. We like to call ourselves Midlife AF and Flossom AH. We are
Friends Some and Then Some.
Woohoo! That's right. Every show starts with the cock-a-doodle-doo. Hello, my lovelies. How have you been?
I always get so giddy to see you.
I know.
You make me want to crow.
It's the last week of March.
It is.
It's gone by fast.
It has flown by, but we do love March because March is, in addition to other things, Women Appreciation Month?
Women in History.
It's Women's History Month. Hey, listen, I can't
But
help
you
it
can
if I
appreciate me
women
all
so
day
much.
long, honey. You can just keep appreciating.
Honey, every day is Woman Appreciation Day.
Yeah, but this is Women in History Month, and we want to close out the month by giving like a massive hurrah to women and to our industry that is big here in LA, but all across the country and internationally. It's a huge thing, right? Women in entertainment. Yeah, it's not just an LA thing. I mean, there's so many states and Canada that have really kind of taken over LA at this point because they've pivoted and they've moved the needle and they don't cost as much. Cities have given so much more. So women are moving around. They're getting out of LA.
So. Women are taking over. Beware, JD.
Hey, I would be fine with that.
You can come along for the ride.
Everybody knows I'm a feminist. I am a diehard feminist. In fact, we can talk about this because our guest today is from the Women in Entertainment organization.
Woo!
Gretchen
so
McCourt.
Lucky.
We'll bring her on in just a moment. But she's been a dear friend of mine for several years, all the way through my ArcLight days. She and I created ArcLight Stories together over there at our friends and family at the cinema. Yes. And then she went on to do this incredible thing, which is draw attention to the fact that there is not equality or even close to it in Hollywood when it comes to the genders. Mm-hmm. And, here in a couple of weeks, the Oscars will come out. 2 women were nominated for Best Director this year.
Nice.
And it's unheard of. An Asian American woman, Chloe from Nomadland, was nominated this year. And I'm not shying away from this. Like, I really think this is true. But, Gretchen's organization and organizations like it that have really put the spotlight on increasing the equity between the genders in Hollywood are pushing certainly in part the reason why we're seeing this important change and this important evolution. But without further ado...
Wait, you know what? Hold on. You know what? If there hadn't been women in entertainment here, we would not be sitting here because
this would be a very lonely podcast for me. If it was just JD
so it's
in
very
entertainment.
important to say that the women here in entertainment has brought 3 of us together. So I'm very excited to see the woman who took over my role as molding you into who you are today.
Oh, that's true. All of my greatest mentors in life have been women. It's true.
Aww.
It's true. And Hal Fishman.
And Hal.
And Hal.
I love
We
Hal.
could honor our women.
God rest him.
So without further ado, I want to welcome her, and she is the co-founder of Women in Entertainment. Her name is Gretchen McCourt. Gretchen, welcome to Friends Some and Then Some.
Hi, Gretchen.
Thank you, guys. I'm so excited to be here. JD and I have been talking about this for months. I love the podcast.
Thank you.
You listen to our podcast.
Note that clip for the sizzle. Okay, so we are so excited to have you on, Gretchen, because in addition to so many things, you're truly, I know I'm shining a light on you, but you're a remarkable woman for so many reasons. But in particular, you and our dear friend Renee Rossi co-founded together the incredible organization, Women in Entertainment. Why don't you tell our listeners and our viewers what Women in Entertainment is all about? Did you see me look at my camera there? Everybody watching from home, I have no idea where my camera is.
Because he's behind
We're here for him.
That's right. Where I'm comfortable.
I keep it simple. I have one camera. I can't mess up. So Renee and I started Women in Entertainment. We'll go into our friendship that started it. But what Women in Entertainment really is it's a platform for women to have deep discussions. We felt like there wasn't a place for women to talk about salary. There wasn't a place for women below the line to come into the spotlight spotlight. And we started Women in Entertainment to just really give women a voice and to create mentorship, to create a community where women could talk about anything. And we focus on film, we focus on television, we focus on journalism, we've tiptoed into sports. And we're really, with the pandemic and the things that have changed over the last year, this coming year, we're talking to a lot of executives, and we're going to, spoiler alert, we're going to tiptoe into Broadway, into live theater a little bit. Yeah.
My gay ears just perked up big time. Tell us more about this move to the Great White Way.
Yes. So we're going bi-coastal.
I love it. Everyone starts at bi first, and then they're just coastal. What is going on with you in Broadway? I love it.
So we, again, because of everything that's closed down, and because of and understandably, women in entertainment are going to be super busy catching up on a lot of lost time and a lot of lost projects. We wanted to give that space and not be overwhelming. And then we wanted to, really give time to a lot of the stories that came, that happened over the last year in all aspects of entertainment. And Broadway was, even for those of us who don't live in New York, Broadway hurt. That was a big one to see Broadway shut down. So we are starting a series in late spring, early summer, a series of salons in New York. There will be brunches on Saturday and dinners on Thursday nights. We're going to try to do it monthly. And a part of the focus is Broadway, is executives in Broadway, to see how women are featured and how women show up as kind of behind the scenes, and then to see where it's going, where's live theater going, and what's the future there in New York. So we're very, very excited, and you'll see some announcements of our speakers and our panels of those salons that are coming up.
Excellent. But breaking news here first, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's the first place we talked about it.
I love that because women, having been a woman in entertainment of some degree, it's isolating. It really is. Because it can be cutthroat, and it can be, you are pitted against one another in so many ways, and there's just not this open arms. So I think it's so important what you're doing to give women that space to feel supported, encouraged, and have mentors. And I just think this is such an important movement. I'm so grateful that you took it upon yourselves to create this, because that, I think, has been missing along in the entertainment space for women in particular.
Well, thank you for saying that, because it's true. And JD's been there. I mean, I think it was Renee, Gretchen, and JD who started Women. And he's been there from the beginning. But with our summits and the conversations that happened there, and then we immediately after the first year we did the summits at ArcLight, we broke off a few months later and started doing just little individual series. And we reached out to our community and asked them, like, what do you want the topics to be? And it was everything from, we did a 4-hour seminar on pitching and pitching projects. We would do a half a day on getting financing, on what's the lifeline of your media and your marketing. What should that look like for your project? Really drilling down into these specifics. And it was amazing how generous women would be and giving of their time. These executives would take off a half a day of work to sit and talk to 20, 30 women that we would have in these workshops. And Mindy, you're exactly right. There's just such this story out there that, okay, there's room for a woman. Well, that means we have to duke it out. No, we don't. There's room for everybody.
That feels like a very primal instinct to put that in their minds, to think that we have to compete, because what I find is when women start communicating, when they start rising up, there is such a swell of support between us. I don't feel the tearing down that has been put in my head for many years, the dialogue that, oh, women are competitive and they're your competition. I just don't feel that.
It's not real. Yeah. It's not real. It's a story that was put in our heads, and especially all of us in our midlife AF world, we grew up with it.
Yeah.
That was what we were told. And we were, oh, you're so lucky, that you have a spot, or you're so lucky there was, that woman left, so there was room for you. And it was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
We're not finding that at Women in Entertainment. That's not the reality. No. There is room for everybody. There's cheering, anything that we do, anything that our speakers talk about. There's been a group of women cheering them on, and it's fabulous.
Who started it, JD?
I was going to say, who started this false narrative that women have to be catfighting all the time? It was probably men.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably some powerful guys that wanted to control things and not let women rise to the
Glenn should know, because when his ex-wife and I get together, he's very scared.
I love that story. That's a good one.
My favorite Ruth Bader Ginsburg quote is, when there are 9, how many are enough women Supreme Court justices? 9.
Yep. Yeah. That's so true. And we, I went to your summit before COVID shut down and saw June Diane Raphael speak. And I love Frankie and Gracie, the shows she's on. Mm-hmm. She's so whippet smart and funny and political with her book. Like, she teaches people. But I think one thing that was missing for women compared to men, where they go out golfing and all these sort of networking things that men did, we never had that, in times before. So we were sort of figuring things out on our own. So I think as women are networking and figuring it out, and mentorship, like my most favorite mentor in my work years is from KTLA. Her name is Marsha Branwin, and she took me under her wing. And now get this. So we're not talking about generations and generations ago. Marsha Branwin was the first female co-anchor with Connie Chung.
Really?
So the fact that we got to have her, it was like she was like a golden nugget. I mean, I literally could imagine wings when she'd walk down the hall. Like, I was just like, oh, I'm not worthy. And she wrote a movie for Carol Burnett, and I got to see the movie. She's just done so much in her life. Oh no, she wrote the movie with Whoopi Goldberg and American Me. Oh no, not American. It's going to come to me. But anyway, Carol Burnett came on the show as a guest for the morning show. She was my idol growing up. And Marsha Branwin and her were friends. Wow. She used to write for her show. Oh my God. So she introduced me to an idol, a childhood idol. And it was a moment where my childhood self was freaking out. And then to have my boss, who has this sort of clout of being an anchor, the first co-female anchor. We're not talking about eras ago. We're talking about, this is current stuff where women are breaking that glass ceiling. Mm-hmm. And I just love what you do. And I think that platform is important. And nobody loves a white top with pearls more than me. Can I just say, a white button down with pearls is so East Coast, and I just want to.
So
you're delicious.
Make sure to go to YouTube or
you gotta see Gretchen. She is working that crispy.
I'm so excited to get dressed up today for a podcast.
It's like nice to get.
Who's with me? A crispy white top.
I do love it. I do love a good fashion moment.
I'm still bringing mine out.
Gretchen, I will never forget the first time I met Gretchen. I can still see the shoes. We had lunch at the Arclight Cafe.
Yeah.
And these gorgeous, shiny, patent leather, chunky heeled, almost like, what are those?
Straps? Mary Jane's?
Mary Jane.
Oh, yes, I knew it.
Okay. Like a much high-ender version of Mary Jane.
JD just confirmed how gay he really is.
In case you were wondering, folks, it's true.
Okay. And I remember I bought those when I was in Toronto at the film festival, and I loved those shoes. I thought they were so
they were a really good price because they were Canadian dollars.
That's right. Something I want to talk about is this message that constantly happens. So women in entertainment, beyond being incredible workshops, mentorships, womeninentertainment.com is a great place to go and look up all the different programs that Women in Entertainment have. But the thing that really resonates with me year after year at the Fall Summit is this message of, if you can be it, you can be. If you can see it, you can be it.
I like that.
I love that, and that is what Women in Entertainment
tangible.
Does. It puts forward all of these women doing it, so all these women in the audience see it, and now they believe we can do it too.
And that message is it's so funny that you say that, because when Renee and I had the idea for Women in Entertainment. I don't know if JD, if you remember this backstory. So it was, I was at ArcLight. We were doing all of the good work at ArcLight that we were trying to do. And Renee was my PR person, and she was trying to get me personally like up there in the spotlight a little bit. And then obviously ArcLight, because we were opening theaters all over the country. But it was really when Reese Witherspoon created her production company, because she was sick of the crap scripts that she was getting. And she was, she had to be the girlfriend or the wife. And she ended up buying Gone Girl and producing it herself, and Wild and starring and producing it herself. And so Renee and I started that conversation, and we were like, we really should do a summit. And then I don't know if you guys remember, I'm sure you remember, Patricia Arquette speaking about equal pay at the Academy Awards.
Yeah,
and that was it. That was the moment we said, we are putting together a summit. And sadly, we put together the summit, scared to death in the Dome. We were still set 850 people. And I was like, okay, what if 3 people come and I get fired for this?
That's a fear.
Yeah, exactly. It's sold out.
Yeah, of course it did.
But going back to the quote JD said, the first person, so we called Madeline DeNono, who's the CEO of the Gina Davis Institute on Gender and Media, and Gina. And again, this is exactly what we were just talking about. This is what they do. They're a women's organization, and they're talking about gender equality. Did they for 1 second worry that, they may get one of our sponsors, or, they may get a speaker? No, they were, how can we help? What can we do? Gina will absolutely open your first summit with data. She will be there all day. And really for C. Jane, for the Gina Davis Institute, that's their motto. If you can see it, you can be it. And they couldn't have been more giving and more helpful, and still are to this day. To say there is room for women in entertainment. There's room for everybody. And so we put that first summit together 7 years ago now. And then sadly, ArcLight really didn't want to own it. But luckily it stood on its own financially. It stood on its own for everything. So ArcLight was truly just a venue. And again, Renee and I, as friends, as colleagues, we sat down and we said, okay, then we want to own it. We called up her dad, who's a tax attorney, and he met us in Chicago. We flew to Chicago, met in the middle. We set up an LLC. We filed our 501c3 paperwork, and Women in Entertainment was born.
Boom.
Wow.
And
we need a big sound effect.
Where's that?
Yeah, it didn't, we didn't, and it really could have, because she had left the agency that she was working at, and opened her own agency, which is thriving and has stayed intact through COVID and is thriving. I was working, I have 4 kids, and, was running ArcLight, and we were like, it's too important. It's too important. And when we had all of those people show up the first year, and then they wanted workshops in between the summits, and we had all those people show up the second year, and they wanted more workshops. You can't turn away from that.
I love that line, if not me, who? Like, you guys did that.
No, if not you, who?
If not you, then who?
If when something needs to be done.
If not me, then who?
If not me, then who? Right. Like, so Gretchen and Renee said, even though ArcLight wasn't, getting behind owning the Women in Entertainment organization, they said, if not us, then who? We have to do this.
That's a powerful
And let me tell you, over the years, they've attracted huge names to the event. Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman 2, she was a keynote speaker, Ava DuVernay. And every year you have such a nice mix of like really established entertainers and high-ranking executives that are from whether HBO or CBS over the years. And then you also really dig into these really specific areas of the industry that need a light shown on them. Like, one of my favorite panels from the 2019 summit was about the underrepresentation of people with disabilities in entertainment. And that panel, like, fully changed me. Like I made friends with some of the comedians.
I was going to say the comedian. We had lunch with her.
I love her.
She's I follow her.
And
Monique or no.
And I will look that up. That's leaving my head
my
right now.
My memory is just shot
but
today.
What it does is it gives you, like you said, you created a space for women to feel safe and to talk about these really important issues that need discussing. And the thing I want to say is there is absolutely, because you're probably asking, what about men? Well, no one. I'm gay. Our organization, the gay organization, my community, which people will say we had a lot of movement, a lot of civil rights, action in the gay world, and that didn't happen just because gay people were doing it. We had to have allies, and the same is true with women in entertainment. If you just have women, you'll get so far, but you really need men to step up and say, you know what?
We all need to come together. We
exactly.
really do.
Be allies. Be allies.
Yes.
I love that.
I do love that.
Well, and it's just, when you talk about a successful film or you talk about a successful TV show or a Broadway show, or you have to reach a bigger audience. And to reach a bigger audience, you have to have diversity in the writing room. You have to have diversity in, the funding. You have to know who those audiences are. I don't know if you guys have seen, I'm trying to remember where I saw it. It was Tina Fey tells the funniest story of when she was a writer on Saturday Night Live. And she was the only female in the room, and they're trying to write, when they did how they do the Saturday Night Live commercials, remember when they, in between, they were trying to write a tampon commercial. And she said she's sitting there, and here's all these men going, it's not quite right. Well, let's do this. Well, it's not quite right. And then she was finally like, would you like me to chime in? And they looked at her like, why? And she was like, well, how many of you guys have ever used a tampon? And I mean, it ended up being, but it was such a funny story that she told, but like, it didn't even dawn on them to like, well, maybe we should ask a woman.
I mean, really?
It's such a thing.
Yeah. When you think about having, like you said, just having a diverse room to start with, an idea, and then bringing all of those perspectives, you're going to reach a wider audience. It's so it seems like common sense, but it's taken us we still got a long way to go to get there.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. And
by the way, Danielle Perez.
Yeah. Danielle Perez. She was the comedian.
I just want to throw that out there, Danielle. You're lovely.
And it's Diva Deluxe on Instagram. We loved her. And since we are fact checking, we don't have producers in the back fact checking for us. We literally, I'm like, what? But I got my facts checked for the Marsha Brandwin movie. It was the movie she did, Whoopi did with Ted Danson and Will Smith, Made in America. She wrote that. So she just had such a variety. And that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. Well, has there been measurable progress since your inception, but also about putting people in a box, right? One, we're breaking out of the glass ceiling and out of a box. There's so many things you can do where, I always had that I'm only behind the camera. And now the podcast world came up. I mean, of course we had to do a vidcast because I'm bookended by these two fabulous talents. They have to be on camera. So they forced me, because I was excited about just being audio and still remaining behind the scenes.
Meanwhile, she's center seat on Hollywood Squares.
Yeah, notice that.
Yeah, and now I've really gotten warmed up to it. Yeah, I would say.
Who was on KTLA for 9 whole minutes? I never got that in all my years.
But what I'm trying to say is that I'm sure you've witnessed too, and how you have chapters in your life, like Jane Fonda, Act 5, that documentary on HBO Max, like talking about how we can move into aging, but we also can change our career in entertainment. So, like you said, actresses are buying companies and producing, and producers are becoming on air, and writers are becoming directors. Like, we're not a one note kind of people, and neither is the industry. Are you finding that more people are blending careers?
Yeah, absolutely. And they're doing it, for their own creative, creative interests, but they also see the paths that they can forge. When you have, I love Ava DuVernay's story of when she did Queen Sugar, and you guys will have to fact check this for me, but I believe it was more than one season where she it had to be a first time director of color for each episode. And, she, anybody can do that. Anybody can do that, and she did that, and and now obviously she's been in the news so much lately with Array and building the just the playbook of if you need you need a director, you need a script, a reader, you need a grip, whatever, all of the there's a whole book that Array has now of people that for
Resources,
hiring, and that they're creating this whole, I think I say book, this whole website, but that's what's so interesting is it's letting your creativity go in a different direction, but it also allows you to open doors for, you guys at JD were there when we did the TV summit, and I talked with Krista Vernoff, and she's had just such huge success in Shondaland, and being a director and a writer for ER, and she says the things that Shonda required of them and of hiring, and that allowed her to do things, and now she blind script reads. She doesn't want to know who wrote it. She doesn't want to know anything about the person as she's reading new scripts, and as she's, so just all of it just keeps paying it forward when we do exactly what you say of going into different areas. It's amazing.
If you always do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. Like if you step out, you never know the creativity that you're going to uncover, I think, by just stepping out of that box of how it's always been. That's what these women are doing. They're busting through.
I love that.
That idea that Ava DuVernay had to create like a place for first-time women of color to direct meaningful content. It's just a decision that a powerful person made in order to make that happen. It's the same. It's so much. I've learned so much through women entertainment, and it's like, what the Bechdel test is? Bechdel.
I bet we're going to find out. I bet you're going to find out.
Oh, we are going to find out.
He's so good.
The Bechdel test is this. It's named for like an old American comic, I believe. I can't remember her name exactly.
We need a fact checker
but
today.
It is the point of it is it's basically this litmus test for whether or not women are being represented properly and fairly in film by giving a simple test. Do two women who are both named characters ever speak to each other in the film about something other than a man?
Wow.
And you would be stunned to find out how many movies do not meet that simple test.
That really makes me sad.
I learned that from Gina Davis in the 2015 opening. She was the first speaker of all the Women Entertainment Summits. And it was just so powerful to me. It was like, gosh, she even joked. Remember, Gretchen, she joked a little bit about how, if they have done studies, her organization literally has measured the presence of women and especially children in children's programming. But like something as simple as a crowd gathers, like this is the moment in the film where a crowd gathers around something to see. And if you look at most films, 90%, it's 90% men. A couple of women just there as like,
sprinkled.
And Gina Davis made this really important line. She's like, women gather.
Oh, geez, that's all we do.
Women gather.
Yeah, what's the deal?
It's so simple. Half the time solving this problem is as simple as crossing out the name Tom and writing in the name Beverly. Right.
Well, and the algorithm or the algorithm that they created through the Institute, and I believe they did it in conjunction with USC. Now, so early on, it was after filming. So exactly what Jay, they would start looking at how many women are speaking and who are they speaking to and what percentage of time. Now they can do it at script level. So they can make those changes and say, okay, why does the chief of police have to be Tom? Why can't it be Tanya? Or, all of these things. And beyond just the female perspective, but people, actors and actresses with disability roles, people of color, non-native speaker, all of these categories to make sure that there's representation. But one of the big pushbacks, is, it's so expensive. It's always done. It's already finished. It's already filmed. Well, now they can run scripts through that algorithm to make changes. But JD, do you remember that when Gina was telling that story, about the crowd, she mentioned that even in the Peanuts movie that had just come out, that there were 85% boys.
Well, can I say something to that fact? And I love that Women in Entertainment is broadening its horizons to Broadway. But as a mother of two boys, I have a tween and a 9-year-old. And I see a whole new side of entertainment, which is gaming. I really need women in entertainment to break into the gaming world because that is, so we've conquered movie, TVs where we're getting there, right?
Yeah,
We're moving the needle, but you can see how we're going backwards in the gaming world. And I'll tell you why. That is a male-dominated industry. All the tech boys, all the men that are the owners of these massive gaming industries that are multi-billion-dollar industries, they are determining what female images are on the games. They're all over-sexualized. The bodies are like, I would die for the body.
They're worse than Barbie.
Pow, pow, you know, like.
Yeah, worse than Barbie, exactly.
It's in the butt scenes. They even did a whole thing about how many butt shots are of a girl who's got the gun, or, you know, and my, what I do love is that my boys literally mix in playing male and female characters. So my boys play as many, if not more, female characters as they do male. So I can see how
they're smarter.
Well, I can see how generationally that we are moving the needle as a generation, that we don't really see that, but there is still a major over-sexualization of these women. So we've got to break into the gaming because that's the next generation. Gaming.
And it's
crazy.
We've got to help these boys not think every woman looks like that, you know?
I don't think people always, what did you just say, Gretchen? Because I don't think people always realize that. Like how
gaming is bigger than all sports and movie going and television put together. Yep. It's going to be a $250 billion business.
Yeah, I thought you said it was bigger than TV and boobies.
Movies.
I'm like,
so we really need to do something about that and break into that industry. Somehow women really need to have a voice there, because if it is taking over, because how do we affect men? You hit them in the pocket, right? I will say that's one thing that
men make them dinner.
And in business or entrepreneurial, but like women need to really get into that
the
industry.
fastest way to a man's heart is through his stomach. That's all. I'm not putting women in the kitchen. Come on now. Give me a break. I am the biggest feminist there is. Hey, I do have a question about this though, because so much about women entertainment is really focused on entertainment and the industries of entertainment. But there's also kind of there's an overlap, right? There's a spillover. If you think about it, whatever, women in sports, women in entertainment, women in politics, all of these things are mattering in a world and in a society that's clearly struggling with its relationship between men and women in the workplace, sexual harassment, all these stories that keep coming up. You know, Governor Cuomo is going through, he's the latest one of a series of men. And you can't help but think, if there were more women represented on television, the way and film and entertainment, the way that women exactly, how much more respect men would have. But as long as men keep putting out overly sexualized depictions of women, it's going to continue to train young men to believe that women are objects, and that is not the case.
Absolutely.
Man, I've heard some very sad things from some pastors that speak to young boys and girls about even their perspective of what women want, even in the intimate setting. You know, like, and it's very skewed because of what they are exposed to and what they're seeing that
on the internet.
And it's just really sad. I think the narrative. It's hard because the internet offers so many options now. So many people are telling so many messages. So you just, as a parent, you just want to guide your kids to the right. So I showed my kids, we were looking for a movie the other night. We found this movie in our vault and I'd never seen it before. And I don't know if you've seen this. Have you seen Salt with Angelina Jolie?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had never seen that, and my girls watched it. And what I understand, that was originally supposed to be a man in that role, and I didn't know that till afterwards. But the girls watched it. I have two teenage, 12 and 15, and they were like, "Mom, that was the best movie I've ever seen." Like, they loved it. And it wasn't in sexual. It was, she was strong. She was powerful. She was an action star. She was a lead, and she held that. And it was a great movie. And I never really knew much about it.
I never heard of it. Yeah.
And then there wasn't a sequel. And I was like, where's the sequel? It should be like a whole James Bond series, because she was such a badass.
Right.
And my girls were really, they it left an impression on them, a positive one.
And they're at an impressionable age, which is important. That's what I'm saying. We've got to bring this next generation. There's so many great positive things going on with this generation. They're, they're more accepting of different cultures and genders and all that. It's blur. The lines are blurring. But in the entertainment world, what they're watching needs to catch up with who they are as a generation. Exactly. And I just think that what you do is phenomenal, and I'm blown away. We want to support you in any way we can to get your messages out. So I know JD is now in the podcast world, but he always talks about women in entertainment. It's like his baby. It's like his project. He's so proud of. Yeah, being a part of it.
Because I really believe that it's doing the good work. It's so easy just to fall into the patterns of life, right? Like go into autopilot mode and it's just more of the same. But this organization is really doing something different that is making a change.
Gretchen, I have a question for you. Like as a woman who's established in this industry, as a mentor, say to young women getting into the business, what is the most valuable piece of advice that you feel you can impart to young women who want to break into the business? Like where do they start? Where do they even begin?
Well, I think for beginning, it is what's their passion? Is it, and go hard at that. If do you want to be a writer? Do you want to produce? Do you want to, and go hard into that area. But my biggest piece of advice and what I wish someone would have told me 30 years ago, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. And I do hope part of that's generational, and I hope that but I think about so many things that I was afraid to do. And we joke about, I didn't want to be on camera, and they made me, but even the big things I think about, and of course you think, if I would have done that then it wouldn't have led me here. So no regrets, of course, but it's what risks, I was so afraid to leave that job and I had a 401k and I was like, oh my God, I had $28 in it. Who cares? But why, why? So that, I think that's the thing is don't be afraid to make those changes and to take those risks. And when I think about one of the topics when JD and I were talking about the podcast and the different, friendships and different things, I think that's one of the blessings that has come out of Renee and I starting Women in Entertainment. She's 15 years younger than I am. And and she's my dearest friend and closest confidant. And for somebody to be like, oh, wait a minute, a working woman with no children and 15 years younger than you is the best friend of a 50-some-year-old with 4 kids. And she makes me take chances.
That is amazing.
Friendship.
Friendship spans all age groups. There's no age limit to a friendship. Friendship is across all generations. I've got much older friends. I've got much younger friends.
Yeah.
I love you say about the fear. I read a book once. It was very impactful for me. And I say this to my kids all the time. It's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And that, because you're going to feel it. It's not going to be there, but just do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Just go right through it. And you'd be amazed what happens on the other side of that fear.
And another part of that fearlessness is because this is a question, because, my role at Women Entertainment is that my media company, we, I go there as the camera crew and interview all of the guests and all of the luminaries.
You're like the moderator.
The message. You're creating the message too.
And one of my favorite questions to ask year to year is similar to what you just asked, Mindy, about that best advice. Because a lot of times I'm interviewing women who have made it or are successful already. So what do they say to the younger people? And something that comes up every year, and it goes to this fearlessness thing, is stop apologizing.
The apologies.
Be
it's
unapologetic.
a woman's plight.
Women do not have to go and be a little bit more quiet in a room, or hold your hand up a little less
dim your
high,
light,
or if I don't know how to say this, but in a way, it's like act like a man. Like go in there and act like any man would.
That confidence,
Exactly. Like be unapologetic, and you don't have to say you're sorry for wanting to follow your dreams if your dreams are in entertainment, just because that industry has been dominated by men traditionally.
Yep.
Amen.
And take the job and know that you're worth it. There's a statistic that women won't apply for a job or say yes to a job unless they feel 100% comfortable. And with men, 50%. they're like, yeah, I think I can figure it out. They'll take the job. They'll apply for the job.
Fake it till you make it.
You know, and that's what, you know, that keeps us in our places. It's that fear. Yeah. Be fearless. All
right, ladies, be fearless.
I love that message. Fearlessness is...
Fearless and no is never an answer. That's just the beginning of a conversation. Find another way until you get a yes.
Well, and I think part of that fearlessness is knowing who's your community, who are your people around you. Right. I think that's the other part of why looking back, I thought I had super supportive parents. I had super, you know, family and friends. And if I would have, you know, taken that leap and failed, they would have caught me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we, you know, and so as you're thinking, I'm too scared, I can't leave that job, I can't do that, I can't take that risk. Give yourself a double check and like, who's around me that's going to catch me if in fact I do fall? Because I'm sure there's somebody. I'm sure there's more than one somebody.
This has been amazing. Find your somebodies. Find your community. Yeah. Find your yes. Feel the fear. Do it anyway.
I was just showing them. I'm going to do a shout out for your website and everything. But can you see this? I'm going to put this picture.
Put it in your single.
Oh, there we go.
Put it in your single.
Yeah.
Since we've mentioned Renee a few times, I
know
people who are watching this. People who are watching this on YouTube or on Facebook.
That was our WIE series?
Yes, it was.
WGA series?
Oh man, you made one of my dreams come true that night because I got to sit down with Kristen Wiig and
Annie. Yeah.
Oh wow,
that's amazing.
Which was it's just that kind of event that Women in Entertainment is constantly organizing. It's just getting you out there, getting you seeing people doing what you want to do, and having mentorship and
that series was so fun. Barbara Streisand was our first speaker.
Holy crap!
I love that.
It was remarkable.
Yeah. WIE, Women in it. We found our why.
I love
it. It was so much fun. Okay, JD, have you told Mindy and Michelle our Ryan Gosling story?
I haven't. It's funny. I thought about it today too. So
wait,
like, should we bring that up?
Spill.
Right. Well, actually, maybe Gretchen should tell it.
Spill.
It was okay. So my best one of my. So we were getting ready to do. We were doing a Q&A for La La Land. So JD we would film our Q&As and when I was at ArcLight, I would always do the Q&As with the talent. So, oh my God, this is the funniest story. So we are just beside ourselves. We've got the Q&A with the entire cast and crew of La La Land opening night in the Dome. So Friday night, and the film is, was a hit at the festivals, whatever. And so, I'm in the green room at the Dome with Rosie, sweet Rosie, who was also a friend and at ArcLight. And we're sitting there getting ready to go out. The movie's still playing, so no one's there yet, or none of the people are there yet. The door to the green room opens and in walks Ryan Gosling, all by himself. He's like, hey, and we're like, hey, he goes, hi, I'm Ryan. We're like, hi. And, he's like, he doesn't have an entourage with him, doesn't have anything. He walked. From wherever he was, he walked it. So he comes in, he sits down, he's like, I'm going to go get a Sprite and a hot dog. Do you guys want anything? And we're like, no, we're good, everything. So anyway, he's just a doll. So he comes in. So then Damien Chazelle gets there and Justin, and I think John Legend was part of the Q&A. Everybody but Emma, I think that night, right, JD?
Right, it was packed.
So, and we know what a big deal it's going to be. It's going to be the biggest deal. And so JD and his whole crew are there, and they've got the whole front row of the Dome. And normally we're a little like loose and everything, and they'll just handhold, but JD had it buttoned up. We had set cameras, and JD, you'll have to tell the technical part of it. We had everything set, everything. We have so much fun. It was such a fun Q&A, and we talked for like half an hour and everything. So we stand up at the end, we put down the microphones and we stand up, we sit on the director's chairs up there at the front, and we had questions from the audience, all that stuff. So we get finished, we sit down, or we set our microphones down, and we stand up, and Ryan Gosling hugs me. Like, thank you so much. This was so much fun. He hugs me, and we leave and everything, and I'm dying. I cannot wait to ask JD for the picture of Ryan Gosling and I hugging. What does JD say to me?
Uh-oh.
Sorry, Gretchen. We had all of the cameras set. We cut your head off.
Yeah. But you can see their bodies clearly embracing above the shot.
You guys are super
All I want is to
deliver. It's a picture of me from here down hugging Ryan Gosling.
I swear it's Ryan Gosling.
We got to superimpose your.
It's me. Oh,
do you
God.
know
The one time.
Like I've over the years worked with everybody in this room, and when there's those special moments, and your job is to capture things on camera, and you don't get it, it breaks your heart.
Yeah.
Breaks your heart.
But because we wanted the Q&A to be perfect and the level and everything, because the dome's all funky. So never does he like set the cameras. It's always they're holding him so that they can do. He had them perfect for the Q&A and cut my head off.
No one in the audience took a picture. Nobody took video. Anyone.
No, I do have a grainy photo from Sweet Rosie's phone.
That's so sweet. We got to give Rosie Ramirez a plug. Rosie's going to start a podcast here at Mod Pod.
Yay!
What?
Yeah, breaking news. It's called Rosier.
Rosier.
That's great. This has been so fun, Gretchen. Thank you.
We should give a shout out to Gretchen, all of your handles. How can people find you?
How can we find you? Where can we follow you? Where can we
follow Women in Entertainment and G McCourt on Instagram, and we post both. But please, and follow Women in Entertainment, womeninentertainment.com. Super easy. We have a free newsletter. Sign up, and you'll get all of our information as we are bi-coastal. But we will be, like I said, in New York doing some events, and then back in LA as soon as we can. Everybody wants to get back going as soon as we can gather and have people.
Oh, Michelle's already following.
I know.
I'm not following.
And honestly, any woman, any man, anybody out there who really wants to understand how the entertainment industry works and learn, get involved with an incredible organization that's doing good work,
we're doing Instagram lives. We're doing lots of stuff. But this was so fun, you guys. It's so much fun to meet you guys and see you.
Yeah, so Ryan Gosling, if you want to come in studio, we'll take a picture.
And Mindy wants a hot dog from Ryan's hot dog.
I'm like, Ryan, you can give me a hot dog.
Missing out on having proof of that hug.
Love it.
Oh, Lord.
That's the best. All right, well, there you go. Women_in_entertainment at Instagram and womenentertainment.com.
I love it.
Gretchen McCourt, co-founder.
We love you.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
And you can follow us on Friend Some and Then Some on Instagram and Facebook and our YouTube channel and anywhere you get your podcasts. Friend Some and Then Some. We make up our own English language.
If you like an exciting show where everyone talks over each other, sign up for us.
It's a lot of business.
That's right.
And next time, this is my takeaway. Never deny an offer of a Sprite and a hot dog from Ryan Gosling.
Never.
Totally.
I mean, come on.
Never
do that.
And on that note, thank you, Gretchen.
Wow.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching or listening to another
episode. Is she doing that on purpose?
Friend Some and Then Some.
That's all, folks.